The meeting is being live streamed. Okay. Right, I'm just going to open up my YouTube and just check that it's all. Can't get by without you. Oh, yeah, I think we might be live. The meeting is being live streamed. Yes. Okay, wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful, Mr. Paradox. So welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you. I'm just going to quickly drop this link on Facebook. So would you like to also share it on Facebook?
Yes.
And then we can let people come and join us. So I'm just going to say, I am live now.
That.
Chris Paradox on YouTube. Ooh, what's that? Okay, posting now.
Okay, and so am I. In a second.
Right, I'm going to send you all the links. There we go. That's all on your on your Facebook. Right, so I'll just give you a moment.
Got it. Okay, that's that, and copy that. Oops. Let me copy it. Sorry about this, guys.
That's all right. I'm going to just share it in the Event Is Happened group as well.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Get rid of that.
God.
And there we go.
Okay, great. So welcome back, Chris. Are you good to go? Are you good to start?
Yep. Great to be back. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. And so can you just tell us, where are you in the world?
Where am I in the world? Well, I'm in a different place than when we last spoke. I'm still in Portugal, but yep. I'm at a place called Terra Sanga. Here comes one of our beautiful dogs. Can't probably see him. Terra Sanga, which is set in 9 hectares of ancient forest in central Portugal.
Okay.
In the São Mamede National Park. And I don't know if you can see. Let me just quickly give you a quick. The river behind me.
Gorgeous.
Kind of gorgeous, yeah. What was the other thing you were saying?
Are you happy in Portugal?
Oh yeah, to be honest, obviously, as you know, I'm happy wherever I am because I found the source of love within, but I love it here. Yeah, no,
really it's working out for you. It's aligning.
Yeah, 100%.
Excellent. Now, Chris, you contacted me and you said, "Oh, Jen, I'd love to come and do a chat." What was it that inspired you? Like, I felt like you had something that you wanted to say. What was it?
Okay, I do have something to say, but the thing that inspired me was a friend of mine watched our last chat on Zoom.
Yeah.
And she loved it. She was raving about it. And it made me think of it. And I said, oh, yeah, that was awesome, wasn't it? I wonder if I should have another one. And at the same time, I've just launched a new daily live stream show.
Oh, okay.
Which I think I started on Thursday last week. And it's very much a coming together. If you remember the End Times Daily Show,
yes.
which we also interviewed me when I was doing that. And a lot of your audience joined the End Times Daily Show. So there's a nice overlap there.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Nothing Matters show is the evolution of the End Times Daily Show. I'm doing it every day, I think at 5 p.m., but I might change the time, but every day on Facebook and YouTube, live stream. And it's really where I get a chance to show people the peace of God that passes all understanding. Don't have to call it the peace of God, but just inner peace. I've been really practicing hard since I spoke to you last. I've been blessed to manifest an absolutely exquisite place to live. I live in a cabin in the woods. I get my water from the river, chop my wood. I'm literally living like a nature mystic, which is what I wanted. And my days are spent really just getting all fear and guilt and shame that might still be left in there, just dissolving it and releasing it and seeing only love and feeling only peace. And I just want to share that with people. So I'm doing a daily show where I get to share my practice, teach the practice that I do, and just inspire and support anyone who seeks inner peace in the very simple steps that anyone can do every day in their normal lives to heal the blocks to love and experience inner peace and unconditional love.
So have you been through any sort of like significant enlightenment portals since the last time we spoke, that, you know, do you feel like your message has deepened, or like that you've expanded even more into it? Because I'd love to hear about that.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question, and the answer is yes, a couple. The first one was, for me, most of my the experiences, mystic experiences, which deepen my awakening or help me to heal more, are they involve kind of relationships and everyday life and the stuff that goes on in everyday life, because to me, life is the teacher. It's life that awakens you. And so what happened was I was living at another place that we were hoping to turn into a retreat center and a resort center, which is what this place is. And I had lots of volunteers and a team of people, and we were all working together, and it was actually really good. But then the ownership changed, and there were some, the dynamics that happen when certain people don't vibe with the overall group vision, and they have their own agenda, and they have their own, their own little, their own little thing going on. So we had sort of a clash of vision, basically, and a clash of what we were doing there, what we were building. And, I practiced listening to everyone, treating everyone as an equal, taking responsibility for everything under my skin, all the stuff that I've been practicing, and hoping to bring a situation where everybody who wanted to be there was there, and they were going to stay and carry on. And it all kind of went horribly wrong. There's, as far as I'm concerned, there's no blame, because I create my experience. I'm not a victim. I create my experience. So if I had this experience at the soul level, I was creating it, and in my conscious mind and in my subconscious mind, I was creating it. So I looked at it to see, okay, what did I do to attract this situation towards me? And I saw that there were areas where I thought I was following guidance, following the inner voice of spirit, but I was actually following the voice of fear or ego or the maker and doer. And that meant that I didn't engage with things that I should have engaged with. Difficult conversations I avoided,
right?
Because I just wanted everything to be okay. I'm okay with forgiving. I forgave a lot of bad behavior, but that's okay. I will always do that. But I forgave it without addressing it fully. I did speak to the people concerned, and we did talk it through. But I knew at the time they hadn't really heard, and I kind of just left it, and then it all blew up in the face. So, it was basically, I never blame anyone for my experience. So the gift for me is always, what did I do to create this in the first place? And what did I do not to extend love? And so I saw the ways that I wasn't doing that. I ended up leaving that place and eventually coming here. And very quickly I could see, I had so much attachment to the previous vision that it would happen in the way that I saw it happening.
Yeah.
That my attachment to it was my ego and it wasn't spirit. And
right.
I didn't really trust and allow it to unfold the way spirit did. So when I came here, I was like, okay, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I literally said, okay, I'm just going to be a misfit living in my cabin, just chopping wood, carrying water, dancing with God, just loving everything. And I will just leave the center to run itself. I won't have anything to do with it. I hope this isn't too long an answer, because I've got another one.
No, it's fine.
Coming up. So then what happened was I was left in charge of, we've got some animals, some chickens, some ducks, and a pig, and some donkeys and some dogs. And the owner went away for a long, well-earned break. And I was happy to be the caretaker, feed the animals, just look after the main house, which I'm sitting next to now. And I was really happy to have that responsibility. It was just before and over Christmas and New Year. And I won't go into the whole story, but I left some clothes drying on a wood burner in the house. And I went out with the dog for a walk. And when I came back, the house was on fire.
Shit.
And I literally walked into, I don't know if any of you have ever been in a house that's on fire.
No.
But it is obviously a hugely shocking thing to experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Because fire is so real and so immediate.
Yeah.
And you know that if you don't put it out, it will spread and spread and burn the whole house down.
Yeah.
And so, again, to cut a long story short, I managed eventually, with the help of a guy who lives there, Idris, my beautiful brother, eventually to put the fire out. But there was significant damage. The floor was flooded.
Was it your cabin? Was it your cabin?
It wasn't in my. It was in the main house. This is the thing. It wouldn't be so bad if it was just my cabin. It was the actual owner's house, the main house. Yeah, the main house. So it was a big deal. And so we put the fire out. The police came around with the fire and they checked and it was all okay. And yeah, I was traumatized. I mean, that's the honest way to say it. It's a traumatizing experience. The thing is, I was practicing while it was happening and I wasn't panicking. I wasn't coming from fear. I did what I needed to do and I breathed all the way through it. So I was happy with the way I responded to it. And then when it was over, it was like, fucking hell, I'm like not all over the place, but I could feel all these feelings. And basically the main feelings were guilt and shame. In the spiritual path that I follow, the worst emotions to feel, apart from fear, are guilt and shame, because that's the core wound. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm separate from the one. And so we're always trying to heal our guilt and shame. And what I realized is that at the soul level, I created the fire in the owner's house so that it would bring up the guilt and shame. Guilt and shame.
It's so genius, yeah.
So it would bring it up, because that's what my life is like.
And you needed something, because you've done so much work on yourself. You needed something that was going to involve other people and altercations with other people.
Bingo.
That was going to really, really push against your edge. If it was just you could have just kind of styled it out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that is exactly
that.
It.
Yeah.
You spotted it. I mean, most people didn't get that. They didn't understand what I was saying, but I said exactly that. Yeah. Said, no, I've done so much work on clearing out my guilt and shame. If it was something happening to me, it would be easy. But it was something that happened to someone else.
Yes.
And so I had the guilt and shame of doing that to them.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that was, when you asked what was the big things that happened that have deepened my awakening.
Yeah.
There was that, because I saw guilt and shame that I didn't realize was still there. Yeah. And I had to heal that and practice that and bring love to that. And that took me to another level where I'm not saying there isn't some still in there, but definitely healing the stuff that came up around the fire took me to a place where I just feel a lot more. I find it easier to just stay in a place of peace, easier not to judge, easier to see everyone as love. And so, yeah, my practice has got better and deeper because of that experience, I feel.
I just want to say one thing about that. It's very, very important that we're talking about this, Chris, because I wrote about this in my book, and it's like our shadow, dealing with our shadow. And I personally, I go shadow hunting, because every time I retrieve a bit of my shadow or get triggered with a bit of my shadow, it is an opportunity for me to bring God's light, or the light of the universe, to that previously unconscious hidden aspect, which I was separated from. But the fact that I've been triggered, it means that aspect is no longer separate and sort of like on a limb on its own. It has an opportunity to be brought home back to the half of my divine self. And so I always see like challenges like this as like life is like a Pac-Man game, and we're going along, whoop, 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 and then we come across one of those gold coins, and the gold coin is actually our shadow. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like, the more we can just really, really face it and just and gobble it up and really face that experience, very often that will take us to the next level.
Always, in my experience, 100%.
So we don't have to go to the end of the round. We just transcend to the next level.
Yeah, we don't. It's like I was saying in the last one. You can't heal what you can't feel.
Yeah.
So when your stuff is in unconscious, you can't heal it. But when you get triggered, it comes up. That's what triggering is. It's your stuff coming up to be healed and let go of. And so, yeah, as we said, I think I said on another interview, we have the wrong approach to being triggered. We want to avoid being triggered. We want to be safe from triggering. We don't want to be triggered. However, triggering is where you become awakened. It's like that's how you become awakened. So instead of avoiding it, you should, I mean, I wouldn't actually recommend somebody hunt it down, because you probably won't be able to handle what comes. Maybe you can, but I'm not sure everybody could. But
I'm a spiritual heavyweight, hun.
Exactly. I know we're in the Sadhu Olympics, as I call it. But for most people, you don't even need to hunt it, because everyday life will bring it anyway. Life is
going to trigger you, yeah.
It's going to trigger you anyway. So the thing is to be, when you see it happen, just be present, just be aware. Oh, I'm being triggered. That means my stuff is coming up to be healed and to be, loved to death, basically. And that's the practice that I teach, basically. But the thing to do is just to notice you've been triggered, and don't go with the trigger as though the person who said or did something that triggered you is to blame. Because we have to remember, when your pain is triggered, the person triggered the pain for sure, but the pain was already there before they came along. And what we do is, when we're feeling pain because somebody triggered it, we blame them, we project it onto them. You're the responsible for the way I feel, but they're not. That was in you before. You're responsible for not healing it yet. And here is your chance to heal it. So it's all your self-responsibility. And it's that blame, that projection is what we do to each other all the time. And that causes the conflict in the world. Is that my saying is, everything under my skin is mine. Whatever I'm feeling and thinking, it's mine. Like, it's my life. I'm the one that's experiencing it. It's nobody else's responsibility. It's mine. I'm responsible for my happiness and my unhappiness. I'm responsible for my fear and my facing my fear. I'm responsible for my emotional pain and bringing love to my emotional pain. Only I can do that. Nobody else can do it. So if I say someone else is responsible for how I feel, I literally give my power away to do anything about it. Because if somebody else is responsible for how I feel, how can I do anything? But if I say I'm responsible, then I take the power back, and then I can say, okay, I don't like what I'm feeling. Let me take a look at it. Let me bring witness into it. Let me bring love to it. Let me bring peace to it. Let me heal it, dissolve it, and let it go.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that, there are soulmates, our deepest soulmates trigger us. And they're the ones that were, while sat at the feet of Mother, Father, God, planning our incarnation, they're the ones that really love us. And they're like, do you know what? I'm going to show up for you, and I'm going to press that unconscious wound button. And it's going to really, really deeply assist you to transcend to the next level. So I often see it like that, and we have to understand that people that have a lot of light, they will trigger us. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. And whether that's, you see that person with a lot of light and you think, well, everything always goes so easy for her. She attracts everything so easily to her. Why don't I attract things so easily to me? It's like, then that's an opportunity for you to really, really look at that thought form and that thought patterning of like comparison and really, really believing yourself to be at the sort of like the runt of the litter or whatever. So that person, she's just helping you through carrying and embodying so much light. She's really, really helping you to heal your own shadow, quite frankly. So totally. It's all good. It's all good.
It is all good. And the other way that people who are shining their light trigger other people, as well as that, is, and this is the one I get the most, which is, like Marianne Williamson said, we're not afraid of our darkness, we're afraid of our light.
Yeah.
So if somebody's afraid of their own light, their own power, their own truth, and they're keeping it covered over with beliefs and all sorts of stuff, if they see light shining in another, it reminds them of the light that they're denying. And so they often project, who do you think you are to shine on that person? And in my case, it's, oh, you're a guru, you're a force. I've never said that I'm a guru. I don't want to be a guru. I'm not trying to be a guru. But when people want to disparage me, they always say that, oh, you're a guru, spiritual guru, teaching your spiritual bollocks. And I get that, and I'm like, I'm just trying to help people find peace. Is there something so terrible about that? I'm not even charging for it, but you are seeing me as some manipulative guru who's trying to, I don't know what they think I'm trying to do, but as I said, I understand that they're afraid of their own light. If they could see their own light and feel their own peace and joy, they wouldn't. Why would they project onto me? There'd be no need to. But it's because they're denying their own light, and they see me shining, and it's like, oh, there must be something wrong with you. You can't be shining. I'm not shining. If I can't shine, you can't shine. And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And I say that, but there are a lot of false gurus. Let's be honest.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God.
It's not that doesn't exist. So I totally understand that people might think somebody is that.
Yeah.
But I would just say, just actually listen to what they're saying, experience their energy, and make your decision based on how they actually are, rather than your immediate projection of, if I'm not allowed to shine, you're not allowed to shine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like a false guru will make it all about them, whereas a true spiritual teacher will make it all all about you. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, and it's obvious. It is obvious. A false guru is obvious. If you listen long enough, it's really obvious to spot. So you don't need to react. You just watch for a while and check it out, and you'll see for yourself.
Absolutely. So, Chris, was there something else? You said there was 2 things that you wanted to share. So that was the first thing. What was the second thing?
Thank you for remembering. So, so Nothing Matters.
Yeah.
The Nothing Matters Daily Show is my show where I'm attempting to change the narrative around the kind of realization that nothing matters. So that's a realization it's in a lot of different spiritual traditions. But what I found is that when people tend to hear it, they tend to see what you would call the nihilistic or negative side of nothing matters. Like, nothing matters, that means there's no point to anything I do. That means, nothing matters. It seems negative, but it's actually the most positive thing ever. And so my show is about showing people the positive aspects of nothing matters. So, for example, the reason nothing matters is because we are all one and only love is real. That's the reason that nothing, basically, there is only God, and you are that. And when you realize you're actually God, not this body mind character in a dream that suffers fear and pain and loss and lack, when you're actually God who's dreaming the dream in order to experience itself, you realize that nothing that matters, nothing that happens in the dream actually matters, because you're God, you're eternal, you're free, you're light, you're love, you're abundance. That's who you really are. You, everyone watching me, we're all God, basically. There is only God. There is only the one. There is only love.
Yeah.
That's all there is. And that means nothing matters in the illusion. And the illusion is just simply space and time. The only thing that truly exists is the now.
Yeah.
This moment now. I've never been anywhere except now. No one has ever been anywhere except here and now. So that's the truth. That is, everybody knows that the moment is the truth. Anything that exists in past or future is an illusion.
It's an illusion.
And that's what doesn't matter. All that matters is you. You are the now.
Yeah.
I am the now. I'm what matters, because I am, God coming through human form. You are God coming through human form. That's what matters. Consciousness, awareness matters. But the dreams of consciousness, the illusions, the stuff we make up in past and future doesn't matter. And that's a good thing. It means you're free of fear. It means you're free of your wounds. It means you're free of anything you think is limiting you. Anything that's holding you back doesn't matter, because it's just a thought in the mind. It's just a belief. Beliefs can create an experience of reality. If I believe I'm not good enough, I will experience victimhood. I'll experience, not being enough, because I believe that. But it doesn't mean I'm not enough for real, because in the moment, I'm totally good enough. I'm full of the one, and everybody is. It's only if you believe something about yourself that it limits you. If you say that it doesn't matter that I believe I'm not good enough, you will find that you are good enough, because in the truth of the moment where we're all one, where reality exists, we are all one. There is only love, there is only God. So nothing that you were afraid of or thought about yourself matters. It really doesn't matter. And that's a good thing. And most people are like, doesn't matter. That's a terrible thing. It's not. It's a good thing. So my whole show is about showing that nothing matters is the gateway to unconditional peace, unconditional joy, unconditional freedom, and unconditional love. That's what nothing matters is. You can use it in the moment. You don't have to, no one's going to go, nothing in my life matters. My house, my car, my relationship. Of course, I'm not asking people to do that. I'm just asking you to understand that nothing matters in the moment. Just choose in this moment to let it all go. Nothing matters, and fall into the moment. And then you fall into peace, and you fall into joy, and you fall into love. And then when you come back and you start thinking again, okay, fine, have things matter. It's fine. But whenever you want peace, whenever you want not to suffer, whenever you don't want negative feelings, nothing matters, relax into the moment. It's a wonderful gift. It's a tool. So I'm doing my show to teach people the practice, to demonstrate the practice, and to answer any questions about what matters and what doesn't matter, what's true, what's real, and that sort of thing. So that's the thing I'm really excited about. I really love doing the show, and I hope some of your viewers join me because I think you'll enjoy it.
So where can they find you? Where can they find the show? Okay,
so I have the same issue with Facebook as you do. So I've also got it on YouTube now. So my YouTube channel is called Operation Bless Everything. Everything, like a Jamaican. Everything.
Everything, man.
Everything. That's it. Everything, man. So that's my YouTube channel. So if you subscribe there and click the bell, then every time I go live, you'll get a notification, as I'm sure your people do. I am on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Chris Paradox, the Inspiration Engineer. However, if you like my fan page, which I would recommend, you will be able to see all the replays, because all the replays are on my page. So if you missed the live show, you can catch up with the replays. But I know that Facebook shadow bans me. So even if you like my page, you might not get a notification or it coming up in your newsfeed. So I would say, if you want to catch the show on Facebook, just visit my page every day at, I'm going to say it, every day at 6 p.m. That's really the best time, because I've got
UK time.
UK time, GMT, 6 p.m. That's when it's going to be tomorrow and moving forward. I'm just going to have to get a lighting unit because I like to film outside. I'm just going to have to make sure I get enough light on my face. But the best thing to do is visit my page, Chris Paradox, Inspiration Engineer, at 6 p.m. every day, or subscribe to the YouTube channel, Operation Bless Everything, and then you'll get a notification.
Do you not have a sort of like a profile on Facebook anymore then?
I do, but I changed the name to Holistic Immunity, and it's, I used to have like 5,000 friends, and then I shut my account down because of all this Facebook shenanigans. And then I opened it up again because I was doing some work, and I've got like 400 people. But all the people who are my fans on my page, that's 7,000 people.
Oh, okay.
Most of them were my friends anyway. So my page is the place where I do stuff now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when you were talking, it really reminded me of like, I don't know if you recall, but I had a very powerful enlightenment experience when I was 21 on top of a Himalayan mountain. It was actually in Bangladesh.
You told me when on the last chat.
Yeah. And one of the first things that I realized, or what landed in my consciousness, was that if it isn't love, it isn't real. And the only thing that gets registered in the halls of time, for want of a better way of saying it, is love. So everything else, if it isn't love, it's just a waste of time, and it's an illusion.
It's an illusion
because it's temporary, and it's only that which is eternal which is seen as reality. So in my enlightenment experience, I understood the difference between that which is temporary and that which is eternal, and anything that is negative belongs in the realm of the temporary, and therefore that doesn't actually get stored within the Akashic records even. But what my team also showed me, they said that it's still, you have to be very mindful, because prior to my enlightenment experience, I didn't really know how to manage my energy necessarily. And so if I felt angry towards someone, I would go into a bit of a fit of a rage and send out negative energy into the universe and be like, oh, I wish that person da 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 and da da da. But when I had my experience, I realized that I could never do that. I could never ever send out hateful negative energy from my transmitter that I am into the universal field, because that is not beneficial for the upliftment of this realm. And so what my team always showed me, they showed me from day dot, they were like, if ever you feel like an altercation or like someone's like really pressed your buttons and you feel really challenged by them, I go into sending them pink light. Because when I send them pink light, I end up diffusing that red sort of like anger energy that has just kind of like been sent out, and then I'll send out the pink light, and then it's like the pink light then sort of like neutralizes everyone and brings us all back to sort of like the 0 point field again. So it's like we sort of like dance with separation and projection and stuff. But my team were like, no, you can't do that. You're a planetary elder now. You can't go around doing that. You have to take responsibility for all of the energy that you put out into the universal matrix. And so that it just really reminded me when you were speaking of I think all people that have genuine enlightenment experiences, like we all come back saying the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
That's why there's only one truth.
Exactly. And this
it
is
can
just
sound different, but it's the same truth.
So I should share that.
Even more on what you were saying about that which is temporary and ephemeral doesn't get stored in the Akashic record. Like, that's absolutely true. And it's even more than that. It's that love, or God, which is the one, it doesn't matter if you call it God or love, it's just complete absolute freedom and allowing. Here's my favorite definition of love. Love accepts all things, allows all things, embraces all things, trusts all things, and therefore transcends all things. Love is the spaciousness of existence, which allows all dreams, all creations to arise. All thoughts, all emotions are allowed. They're allowed by love. However, love cannot lower its vibration.
No,
because then it wouldn't be love. So love has to stay in the elevated high state of of the one, of perfection. So it can't join us, even though we're children of love, it can't join us in our dream of space and time. It can't join us in the illusion of separation. So love doesn't even notice our bad behavior or fear. This is why we're always forgiven. Whatever you've done that you think, maybe you were angry or judgmental or cheated or stole something or whatever it is, whatever you think you feel guilty about, this is why back to guilt and fear. Whatever you feel guilty about because you think you've done something wrong or bad, I'm not saying we shouldn't try to improve our behavior and be better people. Of course we should. But guilt, I'm guilty, I'm bad, I'm ashamed, as I said, is the worst emotion you can feel. And there's no need to feel guilty because love, God, spirit, the mother, whatever you want to call it, doesn't even notice. God has never seen any of your errors, never seen, spirit has never even seen them because they're just happening in our minds. They're just happening in the dream. They're not actually happening in reality in the moment. They're just happening in our minds. So love doesn't even see them. That's why whenever you come back to love, whenever you come back to the moment, all you experience is forgiveness because you haven't done anything. You're perfectly innocent. You're as pure and as innocent as when you were created out of love.
Chris, what about if and this is what I think we should both like discuss this, but like if say a father sexually abuses his daughter, then that is being seen by God on some level or that is being noted because that action is activating some sort of like karmic repercussion.
Okay. So I would have a different perspective on that, but I totally honor that perspective. I understand that. And, you know, I wouldn't want people to think that I think it's okay for fathers to.
No. I think we've got to, let's get down into it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not concluded on this. Let's discuss.
Fantastic. Thank you. So from the point of view of wholeness, so everything depends on if you're coming from a point of view of wholeness and the one, or coming from a point of view of separation and the illusion. From the point of view of wholeness, all experiences are chosen. We choose, as a soul that is still in oneness, we choose this body, we choose our parents, we choose everything about our incarnation, and we choose all our experiences because the soul, remember, the soul cannot be damaged or hurt. It is light, it is love.
It's like the sun, it can't be damaged by the cloud.
It's like the sun.
Yeah.
Can't be damaged by the cloud, exactly. And so, but what the soul wants is experiences. And in fact, it wants every experience that can possibly be had from the point of view of having a body and living in the illusion, living in the dream. It wants to know what the dream is like.
It wants to know guilt, shame, happiness, bliss, rapture,
everything.
The whole 9 yards. Yeah,
exactly. So when a child experiences what we would consider completely unfair, something terrible happening to them, I wouldn't call it karma. For me, karma only exists in the dream. It's cause and effect. It happens because of time and cause and effect. However, when you come into the moment, there is no karma. In now, there is no karma. There's only karma when you're in the world of space and time. So to me, it's not the child's karma that causes them to, you know, create a dad that would do that to them. It's the soul's choice. The thing about karma is that karma implies punishment or victimhood. It's like something can happen to you bad because you did something. So you were wrong to do that thing and you're being punished. I know I'm not saying you think that, but most people, when they think about karma, it's like you did something wrong and you get punished. Karma is something that punishes you. In love, there's no punishment. Love never punishes. And so everything is choice. Love makes every soul free to choose its experience. And that's what souls are doing. And when they do that, if they suffer in that experience, love sends what we call the Holy Spirit to guide you out of suffering. That's what guidance is. I would say your guides are forms of the Holy Spirit to guide you back home to awakening. And so that's how love helps us. It doesn't join us in our illusion. It doesn't join us in our misery and suffering. It sends spirit and guides to help us out. But it also knows that if a child is suffering abuse at the hands of their father or any other form of abuse, that soul, the child's soul, chose that. They wanted that experience. Even a baby that's is born and dies straight away, even stillborn, that is a soul having an experience. And I know that's hard to hear.
No, I've had that as exactly what God showed me on top of the mountain. Like I know that's the absolute truth. But what I will say is that my understanding is that there is only one self. And so the father that perpetuates that action of abuse, there's no external God that is judging him or creating karma.
That is God.
There is just the self. Yeah, there is just the one self that is always sort of like balancing out what's been going on. So say that person perpetuated that act, and them through their own higher self is going to create some sort of action to either have that experience themselves or to really deeply have the compassion of that other person that experienced that. So it's not an external karmic thing. No. It's all the self.
If you're describing karma like that, I agree.
Yeah.
That is karma. It's more that basically the son and the daughter are one.
Yeah.
So whatever you do to another, you do to yourself, because we're all one. What he did to the daughter, he was literally doing to himself. There was no karma. It's just that he will experience in some lifetime or another.
He will experience exactly.
Yeah. But it's not a punishment.
No,
it's free choice. It's you freely
the
chose
way
to
it
do
rolls.
this to yourself. You literally freely chose to do it to your daughter.
Yeah.
Therefore, you freely chose to do it to yourself. So there's no
Yeah.
punishment. It's just literally what you do to another, you do to yourself. And that's, if you're going to call it karma, that's fine. But it's not a punishment from an external God. Exactly right.
No, because it's all about balance. Like the spiritual realms are sort of calibrated on balance.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you do an action that is considered to be out of balance in some way,
Mm-hmm.
then you will have to have an experience in order to balance it out, to bring you back to balance.
Yeah.
That's how I perceive it.
Yeah. And that's just another way of saying it's all one being, it's all one
self. It's all one. So
when the being thinks it's separate, it's actually not separate. That's an illusion. So the Father is literally doing it to himself. That is what is actually happening in the now. And therefore you will experience what you made others experience. That we're all doing that. Most of our experiences are experiences we're experiencing because we chose to do them to others. That's the whole merry-go-round that's going around. So it's happening literally all the time. But the way to break karma is to live in the now. Is to live it. There's no karma in the now.
That's
because
right.
you don't do anything negative from the now. Fear isn't in the now. Pain isn't in the now. So there's never a reaction when you're in the now. It's only a reaction when you're in the monkey mind and you're in the past and the future. That's when you do things to others that you don't want done to you. But if you're in the now, you would never do anything, just like you were saying, you would never do anything to another that you wouldn't do to yourself, because you know you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
You just would never do it. That's why I always say, like, the golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, because it is being done unto you. That's the bit that's always missing.
Because it is being done
unto
that.
you.
Because it is.
It is. You don't need moral guidance. Just know that you're doing it to yourself, because we're all one. And then you stop doing it. You would never, lie to another or hurt another or abuse another or manipulate another or cheat another if you knew that you were just lying, cheating, and manipulating yourself. You just would never do it. So that's why the awareness of oneness, being the awareness of reality, being present in the moment to know what is real, allows you to stop behaving from that part of you that, does things you would rather it didn't do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is a life-changing conversation, as Teresina Sulo has just commented on our YouTube link.
Yay, thanks, Teresina.
Yeah, this is so please share this video, everyone, and please subscribe to my channel and to Chris's channel, because YouTube, they love taking away my subscribers. YouTube, it's so funny. People are like, oh Jen, I subscribed to you 2 weeks ago, but I'm not subscribed to you anymore. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You just have to keep a little bit of an eye on the whole subscription thing. I don't know how some people can manage to grow their YouTubes. I do not know.
they're using all sorts of algorithmic tricks and all of this. There's so much manipulation to get your YouTube channel to grow, because YouTube want to support some channels and not others.
Oh God.
They want the kind of stuff that they want the sort of stuff that affirms the illusion that we don't do. Exactly.
Okay, Chris, so we're sort of like coming up to the hour point, and I just wondered, we've got quite a few people watching, is there any sort of like pearl of spiritual wisdom that you would like to share right now in this moment that will enable the people that are watching us to have a real breakthrough?
Yes. Okay, so one way of framing what we call the ego and the soul, or the ego and spirit, that I really like is the right mind and the wrong mind, because it kind of takes the judgment of ego out there, I think. So there are two minds. In duality, in this world of separation, there are two minds. The mind that believes in duality, that believes it's separate, which is the wrong mind, because it's wrong about its beliefs and perceptions. And then there's the right mind that knows that it's one with the wholeness, knows that it's whole. And that's the right
mind. Are you
mind.
an egg or are you an omelette?
Exactly. So everything in life, and this is for your audience, everything that in life depends on which mind you're thinking with. Are you thinking with the wrong mind that thinks it's separate, or are you thinking with the right mind that knows it's whole? And The good news is you can always tell exactly which mind you're thinking with by how you feel. Because if you feel bad, it means you're thinking with your wrong mind. If you feel good, it means you're thinking with your right mind. And I'll tell you why. If you're thinking with the mind that thinks it's separate, you will feel separate. And separate is alone, alienated. So that's the first feeling that comes from the wrong mind.
It's also a lie.
It's also untrue. So exactly, you'll be confused. You won't know the truth. Yeah. Exactly. And if you feel alone and separate, you will feel lack. Yeah. You will feel that you're disconnected and that you're lacking something because you're not whole. So lack, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable. The core wound comes from lack.
And abandoned. You've been abandoned by God. That's
and abandoned and reject. And the abandoned by God is where the guilt comes in.
Yeah.
God has abandoned me. I must be terrible. I must be the worst thing in the world for God, who is love, to abandon me.
God, exactly God who loves everyone and everything, but not me.
Exactly. And that's where guilt and shame comes from. It's exactly it. And exactly. Rejection and abandonment go along with lack. And then out of lack and rejection and abandonment and not being good enough comes fear. Obviously, if you think you're not enough, if you think you're lacking something, you will be afraid. You'll be afraid of losing the little that you have. You'll be afraid of not gaining what you think you need. You'll be afraid of the big forces of the world overwhelming little separate you. So, out of separation comes lack, out of lack comes fear, and out of fear comes judgment. Judgment is just projecting your own fear onto the world to make it, because you're afraid. So you're trying to make the world into a label, a judgment, good, bad, right, wrong. You're trying to make it something that you can understand because you're afraid. And, out of judgment comes blame, victimhood, all of that stuff comes out of judgment. And then out of judgment comes conflict and disturbance. And this is the nature of the wrong mind. The wrong mind is constantly disturbed because it's in fear, it's throwing all its judgments around, it feels alienated, alone, rejected, etc., etc. So the final resting place, I call it a cascade of feelings. When you think with the wrong mind, you get this cascade of negative feeling that ends in just having your peace disturbed and feeling in conflict. When you think with the right mind, the mind that thinks it's whole, it doesn't feel separate, alienated, it feels belonging. It feels like it's home. It's comfortable in its own skin. That's what it feels like when you feel whole. And out of wholeness comes abundance. If you're whole, you have access to everything. You are everything. So there's nothing that you're lacking. So you feel completely abundant and generous and giving. And out of abundance and generosity and giving comes love, because that's what love is. Love is just the infiniteness of God or love or the one. It's so abundant. All it wants to do is give. It creates nature. It creates planets, stars. It creates, through us, it creates art and beauty and loving kindness. All it wants to do is love and be kind to itself, because it's only itself. And then out of that comes, out of love comes forgiveness. So instead of judgment, when we know that we are whole and that we're safe and that we're loved, we don't judge. Because why would you judge? If you're happy, nobody who's happy and content judges. You only judge when you're unhappy and you want things to be different. And so you throw out that uncomfortable, unhappy feeling onto the world and make Republicans bad, or Democrats bad, Black people bad, or Chinese bad, or women bad, or men bad, or blah, blah, blah. So that's just, no one who is content and happy judges, because there's just no reason to. And then out of forgiveness, non-judgment, totally allowing people to be as they are, loving people as they are, unconditionally accepting people as they are, comes peace. Peace is the result of the right mind, because you feel whole, you feel abundant, you feel loving, you feel forgiving, you're at peace instead of conflict and reserve. So the pearl I would like to give your audience is, everything depends on which mind you're thinking with. We call it the ego, but I like to call it the wrong mind and the right mind, because we all partake in both. The more awakened you are, the less you listen to your wrong mind and the less you think with your wrong mind. but everybody thinks with their wrong mind to some degree, and it means you're not bad. Everyone's doing it. Like, it's a universal. And it's just wrong, not because it's bad, but because it's incorrect. As you said, separation is an illusion. It's not real. So a mind that believes in an illusion will be wrong about its perceptions. It will just be incorrect. And when you're incorrect about your perceptions of reality, you are going to suffer, because you're not seeing reality as it is. You're not engaging with reality. You're engaging with illusions, wrong thinking. But when you see reality as it is, which is whole and, a whole thing, then you will engage in reality in the right way. In other words, what I do to others, I do to myself. In other words, you will just naturally live the golden rule, because you understand that we are all one. But when you think with the wrong mind and you believe you're separate, you will naturally create suffering for yourself and negative feelings. So what I would say to everyone is, this is what I teach on my show, learn to notice your feelings more. Because a lot of times we don't even notice that we're feeling bad because we're so used to it. Boredom, for example. Boredom is negative feeling, but because it's so common for people, they don't even think about it as a negative feeling. But just feeling bored is a negative feeling. So it's like, notice how you feel. And if you feel bad, just know, oh, I'm thinking with my wrong mind. Then you can go, nothing matters, peace, and come back to your right mind, because peace is the key. We think that we do things because we want a relationship or money or this, that, and the other. And if we look a bit deeper, we'll actually say to ourselves, no, I want a relationship because I think it will make me happy. Or I want a nice house because I think it will make me happy. And that is true, but happy, what we call happy in that context, is actually peace. The reason we do everything is because we believe it will bring us peace. And the truth is, you don't need the middleman. You can cut out the middleman. You don't have to get a relationship to have peace. You don't have to get money to have peace. You can just go, peace, because it's in the now. It's right here all the time. And so if you notice your bad feeling, you don't feel good, thinking with the wrong mind, breathe, practice, come into the moment, come into peace, and then you're in your right mind. And then you'll, all of a sudden, you'll start having thoughts like, oh my God, I love my friends so much. And isn't it wonderful that the amount of people that are doing good things? And you'll start to think positive thoughts, and you'll start to see the world through the eyes of love and forgiveness. And that's just what happens naturally. You don't have to be a moral person. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to follow commandments. You don't have to do any of that. You just have to be at peace, and peace will guide you into being a loving being, basically. So, yeah.
That's wonderful, Chris. That's absolutely amazing. And so now we're going to wrap this up, because I've got to be online at 6 o'clock with someone. But I just want to ask you a couple of things. We haven't spoke about the situation in the world. How is it with where you were at? Is a lot of the old restrictions been dropped and stuff like that? Is life going back to normal in Portugal?
Not as much as I've heard in England and other places.
Oh, really?
Although it was always a bit more relaxed anyway, but it's not changing as much as I've heard it is in other places. The two things I'll say about the situation in the world is, the first thing that I said at the beginning is that because it's an illusion, because it's a dream, this is something that we created as human consciousness as an opportunity to go within, to awaken, to practice, to heal. That's the point of COVID. We created it to show us that the world is bullshit. I'm sorry, but we're all attached to the world. But the COVID showed us what the world really is. It's an illusion. It's a game being played by certain forces, blah, 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 who are externalizations of our consciousness. But COVID, to me, I was very clear about this. This is an opportunity to get on with my awakening, to deepen my awakening, to heal. That's what the world is showing me. And I feel exactly the same now. Even if things are being relaxed, let's be clear. We knew from the beginning that COVID was about the vaccines. I said it in March 2020.
Can you do a few codes, please, Mr. Paradox?
How do you mean? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to get booted off at this rate. Oh my good
so
Gideon.
I just keep on thinking I'm talking to you.
No.
Rona, we knew that the Rona was about the vaccines.
Yeah.
It was about the vaccines. And now that they've got, I don't know what it is, 60, 70, 80% of people to take the vaccines, now they can be magnanimous. Oh yeah, we can let you all have your man. We'll take the, basically it's like
Come here.
they got what they wanted. I say they, the externalization of the human ego, which is the billionaires and the Illuminati and the Satanists and the cabal, who are just our ego projected out. Our ego, our collective ego in the forces of the powers that be, their plan worked. They hypnotized the mass of the population into believing ridiculousness, just ridiculousness about face nappies, and the flu. So they hypnotized the masses that went along, demonized people that didn't agree with it, took the vaccine, let their family business go to bankrupt, didn't visit their granny in hospital when she died. Think of all the things that happened because people believe this. And now that they've got a big enough vaccine intake, and they've got a whole bunch of people that will have to take their boosters and all of that, of course they can be magnanimous. Of course they can say, oh, it's okay, we can go back to normal. But we have to remember, I don't want to go back to the normal because it was illusion before. The powers that be were doing all sorts of things, the Second World War, 9/11, they were doing all sorts of things before, so I don't want to go back to the old normal. The new normal is a dystopian nightmare. What I'm interested in, what I live in, is the now normal. The now normal. As I've been saying, this is an opportunity to return to the now and leave all of that bullshit. It's all bullshit. Your happiness does not lie in anything you hear on the media, anything the government says. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's happiness and peace has nothing to do with that. That's all illusion. So you can choose to engage with it and fight it and resist it and have opinions about it. Fine, you're free to do all of that, but just notice it doesn't bring you peace. Just notice it doesn't bring you peace. To get engaged with the illusion, to fight the Illuminati, it doesn't bring you peace. What brings you peace is to love people, to be kind and generous and help people and support people, and to be kind and generous and help and support yourself. That's what gives you peace, is love and kindness. It's so simple. Like, forget the opinions and the judgments and the interpretations and the, all of that. That's the world. That's the illusion. That's what's trying to keep you asleep by thinking that what is real is not real. Come back to reality. Come back to the now. Come back to peace. And then it literally does not matter to me what is going on in terms of the Rona. It doesn't touch me personally at all. The only way it touches me is that if I go into a shop, if I go into Lidl, which I don't that often, I put on a mask. Because in Portugal, they don't accept exemptions. So I put on a mask when I do my shopping and I take it off. That's it. That's the sum of how the whole thing in the world is touching me. I live in a cabin in the woods. I get my water from the river. We get our electricity from the river. I have beautiful friends here. We have an ecstatic dance on a Sunday. We have drum circles. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't affect me at all. And I manifested this place out of my complete ignoring of COVID. Everyone knows that I've just said it's bullshit from the start. And I've said the best act, Rona, the best act is to celebrate your humanity, is to be a loving person that plays and laughs and dances. And that's what I've been doing. And by ignoring that reality and redreaming my own dream, I've dreamt myself this paradise. And anyone can do that. Anyone can do that. Just don't allow the wrong mind to get you engaged with that. I think Archie was agreeing with me.
Archie, come here, please.
Or disagreeing.
It's because Finn, whenever my son walks around the house, Archie just likes to bark.
Hello, Archie.
Would you say hello to Chris Paradox? Say
You're not camera
hello.
shy, are you? Hi, Archie.
He's on guard.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, well, that's brilliant. I mean, it's a shame they don't accept exemption. I mean, what if you're deaf and dumb? I mean, are you still expected to wear a rag or
No doubt, because altogether now it's all bullshit. There's no reason to it. There's no,
no,
you know what I mean?
no,
Like,
no,
there's no
no.
reason to it. So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful chatting to you, Chris. And if you ever want me to come on as a guest onto your show, please feel free to reach out to me.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Definitely. Oh, hello, Patricia Watts. So Susan Amos says, yes, polarity change from total greed and hate and competition to generosity, love, and sharing in abundance. Yeah.
Yay.
So thank you all so much for watching this video. Please click the notifications and the like button and what have you, and we'll get this spread far and wide. I'm going to download this video. I'm going to upload it onto Odyssey, Rumble, and what's the other one? What's the other one? Huh?
Odyssey, Rumble, and BitShoot. I don't know if anyone's
BitShoot.
still
Is it
using that.
BitShoot? I think it's BitShoot.
Or YouTube is another one. You know, all these different social media.
I think it might be BitShoot is the one.
Okay.
And obviously it's going to be on Facebook and everything like that. And Chris, what I need from you is all your contact details so that I can then put them on this video.
Yeah. So you know the ones I sent you by Messenger.
Yeah. Is that it?
Just that little bit that says, I can actually copy it now. Shall I put it in this Zoom call? Is there a way I can put it?
It's okay. If you just leave it in the chat,
Yeah.
I'll just put it in the description. Oh, here we go. The inspiration engineer. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. All right. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful speaking to you, Chris. And I'm sure that all of our listeners got loads out of that conversation. It's amazing how closely connected we are on a consciousness level. It's very, very beautiful to behold and very rare, I must say as well. So on that note, I would like to say thank you so much. It's been beautiful connecting with you, and God bless you, brother.
God bless you, sister. Thank you very much for having me, and lots of love to all your crew, the Jen McCarty crew. Mwah.
They're pretty gorgeous. All right, Han. So I'm just gonna